victorious living. Romans chapter 1, verse 18, the word says, "For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness." Now get it again. For the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men. What kind of men? Men who suppress the truth in unrighteousness. We further find that in John 8:32, the word says, "You shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free." So I have a couple of items on this particular episode. I want to deal with it, particularly as it relates to questions that we should ask. All around the United States, there's an uncertainty in the air. All around the Western countries, there's this uncertainty in the air. The morale of a lot of hardworking people is at an all-time low. Day after day, month after month, year after year, we work only to feel like life is getting harder. So it seems like the harder we work, the more it feels like life itself is getting harder. Most Westerners are now chasing bills and counting the days that their job blesses them with a 2-week paycheck. Go with me. Many of the Westerners' paychecks are counted for even before it lands in the bank. It seems that as fast as we can get some money, the faster it is leaving our hands to our creditors and our debtors. We got to get free from debt. Debt, interest, and work are cracking the whip on many people, forcing them into a new form of slavery. And who is at the end of the whip? Well, on the side of pain, you find more people that are like myself. Financial slavery, but also slavery over your mind, over your household, over your children, over your family. As most Westerners are driving home from work, tired, possibly stuck in traffic, with time to reflect on the day, it's easy to think about all the things that we have done or have left to do for the day or for the rest of the week. Look, we're focusing our attention on the things and stuff. Do we have time to think about living? I mean, do we really? Do we really have time to think about living instead of work, instead of bills? What our kids need seem to be far from our minds. When do parents get to live their life? More and more our lives are becoming busier, and it seems that we're spending less time living. I didn't say aging, but I said living. I didn't say surviving. I said living. A lot of Westerners are working all day long, multiple jobs, extra shifts, overtime, and not really living. One can simply test this by driving through any neighborhood in this country and many other countries, or driving past the nearest lake and noticing that every year there are less people outside enjoying nature, particularly people of melanin. Backyard patios are empty for those who have backyards and patios. There are no kids in the front yard for those who have yards, or in the streets riding their bikes for those who may live in apartments. Old folks are working 30 to 40 years on the job until they get sick and die, just like a slave, just like our foreparents. Kids and grandparents are supposed to be at home. We we were we're in a position where we have to look back and see that everything that we count dear to us have either all gone or have had to take a back seat. Why? Because of the economy, and some may say the elite's agenda. Most of our people are gone 8 to 16 hours of a day, working, struggling on that 8 to 5 job. But if both parents, I mean mothers and fathers, for those who live in two-parent homes, if both parents are working, then who who is watching the children? Children and their parents are both inside buildings where they spend over a third of their day and sometimes two-thirds. What happens to the extended family? What happened to the mom and dad around the table thing of the old days, where neighbors and aunts and uncles and people who loved us, grandparents, where they helped raise the children? Where are those days? Grandparents can't do it because grandparents are also struggling, working from day to day, sometimes into their 80s. What happened to the time off? What happened to vacations? I tell you what it's about. We have replaced vacation and enjoying life with working to make more money, to pay for material things, or to try and pay debt that we've accumulated. Here's the way it works. We want stuff and things, so we go in debt to get stuff and things. Pretty soon our little place that we live in can no longer hold the stuff and the things that we've gone in debt to get. So we need a bigger place. So we get a bigger place, and then when we get a bigger place, there's more room. So now we want more stuff and things because after all, I mean, we know that's the American dream, having bigger places with more stuff and things. So we get more stuff and things, and pretty soon the bigger place now is crowded. So guess what we have to do? Try to get a bigger place, or at least go and get some storage. And once we get some storage and we get a little room left, here we are again, getting more stuff and more things. And it's an ongoing cycle. Some people even use their vacation days or the days off work, their other jobs. They work more time for the main job, their main gig. Then when they got a few days off, they go and find another gig. Or they work their main gig during the day. Then they find a part-time gig at night, trying to make more money. Instead of enjoying the day off with your family and friends and talking to your children about what is good and what is not good, teaching them what it means to be a character-centered leader of high integrity. You don't have time for that. So children find themselves having to learn from each other. Now figure this. When the blind lead the blind, then the only thing in front of them is a ditch, and they are ditch bound. Sad, isn't it? I know it is. While husbands have to listen to their wives say, "Take me somewhere. We don't ever go anywhere." Well, those husbands also have to calculate in their brain how much the trip or how much the night out is going to cost and how much working they will have to do to offset the cost of the trip or offset the cost of the dinner or offset the cost of just going out. My brothers and sisters, thinking about working more hours and paying bills leads to less interaction between our spouses and less interaction with our children. So once again, our children are left to try and raise themselves. Wait, don't get me wrong. I'm not hating on anybody. The reality is that we're all trying to do the best we can based on the template that has been laid before us. And that template is that everybody needs to be working to try and get a piece of the pie. But wait, there was a time when we had to work from kin to can't, sun up to sundown, and there was no pie to get a piece of. It was just the drudgery of the chains around our neck and the chains around our wrist. So you think maybe we bought the lie? Maybe. This can equate to less talking, of course, and less intimacy. You don't have time to spend with your lady or with your husband, less time spent teaching children or playing with your children, just kind of lollygagging with them, listening to them. We don't have time for that because we're so tired. I've been working 2 shifts a day trying to make ends meet. Worst case, it can lead to divorce and a broken family because somebody wasn't spending enough time with the other person. Or it can lead with your children becoming teenagers, and then suddenly we realize with a phone call that they've been locked up for something, or the truancy laws pick them up. But whatever the case is, we didn't have time to deal with them because we're too busy chasing the dream. The dream, man, that I have a dream is a nightmare. The family is breaking up because the problem is that we have become a society, a country, where we do too much thinking about everything that encompasses our daily lives and not enough time spending and thinking or questioning what is happening right before our very eyes. We see that our young people are going down the road that's in a paper basket headed for sudden disaster. People like me, people like you, may sense a feeling that something is coming or that something is about to happen. Maybe it's a breaking point where one cannot take it anymore and they're looking for an answer to all their problems. Maybe. Unfortunately, it's not winning the lottery. I can tell you that up front. No, partner. Winning the lottery is one of the biggest games played on the poor. It's a sense of feeling that the future is bleak, the future is dark, and that something bad is going to eventually happen that's going to cause me to fall off this this blade, walking on the edge, walking on the slender edge. With all that's going on in the world, with unstable governments overseas, executive orders being signed by our presidents like it's no tomorrow. Get with me now. School shutdowns, threatened government shutdowns in the U.S. and in other countries in the West. And the end of every year, there is something that is a problem. Inflation, rising costs of health care, rising interest rates, rising unemployment. And I got a list here that goes on and on. The rising dependence on food assistance in every American city and all throughout the West. We can't even feed our own people. Come on now, give me a break. This is the richest country in the world, and we can't feed our own people. You mean to tell me that we got folk that are living under the bridges and they have to go down and stand in a line, a bread line, in order to eat? It sounds like the Depression years. Deindustrialization. This whole deindustrialization thing is before us, and we're seeing it right now. And the massive student loan bubble. Come on. You go to school for 4 years and you pay it back for 20 years. Wait a minute. Wait. Are there any countries that feel like education is an investment? And instead of charging their students to go to school, they pay the education for them? Are there any? I mean, when do we actually see that investing in the youth of our generation and the youth of future generations is indeed a major investment? Therefore, we should be investing in their education. This bubble, this loan bubble, is getting ready to burst. I don't know if you thought about it or not. It's easy for anybody to have a reason to worry. Student loans by itself can cause this whole country to go shipwrecked very soon, if not sooner. The TV shows we watch give us a fake reality. Reality shows, it's a lie. It's a lie. And the news that cannot be trusted is before us, and we're looking at it. This stuff is programming us subliminally. It's a lie, but nevertheless, it's all we have that's going into our minds. Just like in the movie Truman. You remember the Truman Show? You remember that? People are finally waking up and demanding answers. The Truman Show was definitely an interesting show. It kind of reminds me also of The Matrix. How one day Neil realized after playing years on the computer that something wasn't right. And then he had a choice between the red pill or the blue pill. Alternate lifestyles and alternate news media via the internet and the YouTube is spreading like wildfire right now. Regular media, TV news, however, is telling us that the housing market is on the rise. It's a lie. And unemployment is shrinking. No, it's not. Yeah, I know what the stats say, but you got to look beyond the stats. Who does it benefit to say that? Who does it benefit to say that the housing market is on the rise? And who does it benefit to say that unemployment is shrinking? Come on, who does it benefit? They tell us to invest in 401k, invest in stocks, invest in bonds, which we know can change in a matter of an instant with one big financial event which we have no control over whatsoever. Am I passionate about this? Yeah, I am a bit. They tell us to save for retirement, but people are barely able to pay the bills every month. And since you work all of your life now for retirement, you may work for 40 years and then you die before 10 years after retirement. They tell us to save. How can I save when I can't even pay my bills? They tell us that the Affordable Care Act, you remember what it was back in the Obama days, is affordable. But Americans, particularly, are realizing that they cannot afford it once they sign up for it. The Affordable Care Act is not affordable. Affordable housing is not affordable. Anything that's labeled affordable, I guarantee you it is not affordable. We need to wake up to this thing. This is serious right here. So what's up with that? What's up with it? If close to half of America is not working or is collecting food stamps or food assistance every month, then what does that say about the state of this country? And how much Social Security must young people, young Americans, young folk in this nation, how much Social Security can they look forward to living on when they grow up and retire? If today's baby boomers generation that worked 30 years on the job can barely make it today on Social Security, diminishing pensions, and or their 401k, then we should be very, very worried. Please hear what I'm saying. We should be very concerned right now about our future America. Many older Americans have been working for 40 plus years, and I know that for a fact, from their early 20s to their 70s and 80s. Are we working our way into our caskets? Will this thing only be over once we can no longer breathe? I mean, is that what's really going on here? Somebody help me with this thing. Now, scripture says that for the wrath of God is revealed from heaven against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men, get this, who suppress the truth in unrighteousness. So the implications is that God is upset and will be upset with people who suppress the truth. They tell us one thing, but they know it's something else. Sounds like politics? Yeah, it does. I don't know if it's real politics, but I can tell you it's a lot about politicians. The book says you shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Well, when is somebody going to tell us the truth? Well, we say, well, I hear the truth in the church. Well, do you? Do you really hear the truth in the church? I mean, the truth should set you free. Are you free? Are you able to walk in complete freedom? If not, it might be that you don't hear the truth. I'm just lifting this up to you as we consider how to walk in victory today. Catch our next episode on Victorious Living.